Chapter 11:22. This was also the reason why countless students were trying their best to win in this interclass competition. Everyone wanted to go to the next level. To stand at the peak. It was as if, with great difficulty, he had broken through from the mystic profound realm to become a high-level earth profound realm profound practitioner. They would immediately want to advance and set their goal on the sky mystic realm and above. To become a sky mystic realm expert. And after reaching the sky mystic realm expert, they would want to advance to a higher mystic rank. Everyone was like this. Forever greedy. The students of High Profound Class 1 and Intermediate Profound Class 2 were locked in this battle. No one was willing to admit defeat. Once Intermediate Class 2 won, they could possibly replace High Profound Class 1. Once High Profound Class 1 lost, they could be demoted to Intermediate Class. Both sides had their own things that they insisted on, and the battle was extremely exciting. The onlookers were already boiling with excitement. Many forces had already started discussing the 20 students on the stage, each of their profound rank, strength, identity, and so on. They had the idea of roping in their own forces. Which class do you think will win? Evenly matched, I really can't tell. The Heavenly Academy is indeed the Heavenly Academy. These children are only 17 or 18 years old, but their fighting strength is so strong. Someone lamented and attracted countless people to echo. The battle between the high class was a real fist and foot fight, competing on the strength of both sides. Look, the most eye-catching student, that beautiful little girl from Intermediate Class 2. Someone pointed to the stage, the girl who was still releasing profound chi and accurately landed on the opponent. That female student was indeed the most eye-catching existence on the stage. This battle had been going on for at least the time it took to burn a stick of incense. Both sides were evenly matched and both had injuries on their bodies. But that female student seemed to have never participated in it. Her uniform was neat, her hair was neat, and there was no trace of disheveled mess on her body. But everyone could see it clearly. That female student was the real main force of Intermediate Class 2. She had been restraining High Profound Class 1 and had no room to fight back. The other Low Profound Class 2 students took the opportunity to attack High Profound Class 1. That is Shangguan family's fifth miss. Shangguan? The Shangguan family. Isn't that young lady? One of the four great profounder clans, the Shangguan clan. Many forces and academies representatives naturally had some understanding of the Shangguan clan. The fifth miss of the Shangguan family, Shangguan Liuli's good name, was naturally clear about it. Unruly, willful, and brainless. His talent was not bad, but he had been spoiled since he was young, and his brain had been spoiled. She relied on her status as the fifth miss of the Shangguan family to form cliques and bully the children who disobeyed her. She also relied on her talent to stir up trouble. The children of many forces present had suffered at Shangguan Liuli's hands. Looking at Shangguan Liuli, who was the main force and had not let herself suffer any injuries, everyone fell silent. As expected of the miss of the Shangguan family. She has already stepped into the profound earth realm at such a young age. Too powerful. The four great profounder clans really do deserve their reputations. She's too powerful. Even I wouldn't be able to gain the upper hand if I were to fight Shangguan Wujia. Chapter 11:23. Especially when he heard the onlookers praising the Shangguan family. Housekeeper Shangguan's face was smiling like a chrysanthemum. Shangguan Luli naturally heard the crowd's praises. She curled her lips complacently as the profound yin qi in her eyes flowed wantonly. The attacks in her hands were getting sharper and sharper. That's right, it was like this. Everyone bowed down to her strength. Everyone looked up to her like she was a fairy. She was the real genius. She was the existence that could shake countless of people. Dong, a gong was struck. The second match, Intermediate Profound Class 2, wins. The voice in the clouds announced the result word by word with impassioned power. Shock. Full of shock. Astonishment. Full of astonishment. After the result was out, the high profound Class 1 students were completely exhausted and collapsed on the stage. They had tried their best in this battle. But the opponent was too strong. The students of Intermediate Profound Class 2 cheered and hugged Shengguan Lu excitedly. The other students of Intermediate Profound Class 2 rushed to the stage from the waiting area. They swarmed around Shengguan Liuli and excitedly praised her performance today. All kinds of bootlicking made Shengguan Lu grin from ear to ear. Her vanity was bursting. But Lu Xiaoyu, who was waiting in the waiting area, was clutching her clothes tightly. There wasn't the slightest joy of Intermediate Profound Class 2's victory on her face. On the contrary, it was filled with worry. There was another person standing beside Lu Xiaoyu. His facial features were regular and full of heroic spirit. The green and white uniform made his figure look slender. He looked at Lu Xiaoyu with a smile that didn't look like a smile. Worried about Yiqing Luo? Lu Xiaoyu was still worried when she heard a voice beside her. She screamed in fright and took a few steps back. She heaved a sigh of relief when she saw the face of the person beside her. She stared at him in annoyance. Class monitor Xia, why do you always like to scare me? This person was the class monitor of Intermediate Profound Class 2, Xia Yan. He was also Yi Fengru's good friend. He was also the one who sent the challenge invitation to Yiqing Luo, inviting the devil class to participate in the interclass competition. As the class monitor of Intermediate Profound Class 2, I naturally have to show some concern when I see that my own classmate did not reveal any expression of happiness just because the class won. Xia Yan took a few steps closer to Lu Xiaoyu. Student Lu, are you worried about Student Yi, or worried that Intermediate Profound Class 2 and Devil Class will go against each other? Lu Xiaoyu opened her mouth but didn't know what to say. Perhaps, both of them were involved. Worried about Yiqing Luo's safety. Worried about the battle between Intermediate Profound Class 2 and Devil Class. What should she do? Do you believe her? Xia Yan saw that she did not speak, and did not force her to answer, but asked another question. Lu Xiaoyu was stunned and looked at Xia Yan blankly. After a long while, he slowly nodded. I do. Yiqing Luo was the first friend she made since she came to the Heavenly Academy. It was Yiqing Luo who had been encouraging her and changing her. She naturally believed in Yiqing Luo. No matter what it was, she believed it. Then believe in her. She will bring her brother back safely. Xia Yan's gaze gradually drifted forward, his voice very soft. Lu Xiaoyu did not know why, but because of Xia Yan's words, her heart firmly sank to the bottom of her heart. Inexplicably, there was a kind of peace of mind, a feeling of unconditional trust in Xia Yan. Because Xia Yan was her class monitor. The students of Intermediate Profound Class 2 were long used to relying on Xia Yan. As for the battle between Intermediate Profound Class 2 and Devil Class, Xia Yan paused for a moment. Lu Xiaoyu's eyes lit up, as she looked hopefully at Xia Yan. Chapter 1124. Xia Yan gazed at the girl in front of him. That pair of clear and beautiful eyes sparkled like luminous pearls, resplendent luster. The curvature of his lips couldn't help but deepen. It was almost subconsciously. He raised his hand and caressed Lu Xiaoyu's head as he gently rubbed it. Student Lu, the interclass competition emphasizes on the interclass competition. Even if I don't arrange for you to go up for today's 10-people team battle, tomorrow's semi-finals, or finals, you will eventually face each other. Lu Xiaoyu froze. The warmth of the man's warm palm on her head seemed to pass through her hair and touch her skin. Class monitor he. What was he doing? In front of so many people, he actually rubbed her head? If you really treat Student Yi as a friend, then go all out in the battle against Devil Class. This is the most basic respect. Xia Yan saw her looking at him in a daze as he comforted her once again. At this moment, Lu Xiaoyu's mind was filled with whatever interclass competition and whatever Devil Class battle. She blinked her thick and curly eyelashes. She was at a loss. Her watery eyes looked like a startled animal. Xia Yan then realized that his actions had already crossed the line. He immediately retracted his hand. The expression on his face, had a sliver of awkwardness. I'm sorry. Xia Yan clenched his palm tightly. The touch of her hair was so soft as if there was something coquettish past his heart. It was soft and soft. He didn't want to let go. Lu Xiaoyu blushed to her ears as she lowered her eyelids and didn't respond. Xia Yan coughed dryly. Anyway, just treat the competition normally. Saying that, he had already walked towards Shangguan Lu Li's direction. Leaving Lu Xiaoyu alone at the waiting area, blushing to her ears, not moving a single step for a long time. On the arena, Intermediate Profound Class 2's faces were filled with joy. Devil Class's area. Devil Class students were incomparably calm. For others, Intermediate Profound Class 2 winning against High Profound Class 1 was indeed something unexpected. But Devil Class had long known about it. Shangguan Lu Li had already been controlled by the dark forces. The dark forces would definitely help Shangguan Lu Li to obtain victory in this interclass competition. Because of the blood oath that Shangguan Liuli and Yiqing Luo had set. Looks like there's a high possibility that we will have to cross hands with Intermediate Profound Class 2. Qiao Jin narrowed his eyes as he whispered into Long Yunzhan's ears. That's for sure, Long Yunzhan said indifferently. His voice was cold and his eyes were calm. In the first round, their Devil Class 1. In the second round, Intermediate Profound Class 2 won. Third round, High Profound Class 2 against Intermediate Class 1. There was no suspense in the third round. High Profound Class 2 will definitely win. In that case, next would be Devil Class, Intermediate Profound Class 2, High Profound Class 2 and Low Profound Class 1. The four classes would draw lots and face each other in pairs. According to the Dark Organization's plan. Entering the preliminary round, no matter what, they had to squeeze the Devil Class out. Devil Class was also bound to go up against Intermediate Profound Class 2. Qing Luo isn't back yet, could there be an accident? Yan Xiaoyi looked around restlessly. Little Kitty has already told Overlord brother-in-law that Big Sister has gone to look for Brother Yu. There won't be any accidents. Kitty Lee scratched the floor with her little claws. Although she said that, but from her actions, it was obvious that she was worried. Overlord has rushed over? Qiao Jin frowned in puzzlement as he looked towards Senior Mo who was at the main elder's side, then. Chapter 1125. Right now, it's more important for us to regulate our emotions and rest well. Long Yunzhan paused, closed his eyes, and said indifferently, the third match won't take too long. The few of them collected their thoughts and tried their best to adjust their emotions. Yiqing Luo had said to wait for her return. She would definitely come back safely. What they needed to do was to guard the Devil Class well before Yiqing Luo returned. In a situation where no one was aware, he had obtained victory. Until Yiqing Luo's return. It was just as Long Yunzhan had said. The battle between High Profound Class 2 and Intermediate Class 1 did not last more than half an incense stick of time. The Intermediate Profound Class 1 was beaten to the point of retreating step by step. They were really unable to resist and raised the white flag to surrender. Just as Long Yunzhan expected. Devil Class, Intermediate Profound Class 2 and High Profound Class 2 entered the next round. In addition to the Low Profound Class 1, who will not participate in the first round of the competition, they will draw lots to determine the winner. Originally, Low Profound Class 1 was just holding on to the idea that at least they would not be the first class to be eliminated, and muddle along. Anyway, those who could enter the second round were either High Profound Class 1 or High Profound Class 2. Any random student could send 10 of their Low Profound Class 1 students flying. But when he saw the Devil Class entering the second round, Low Profound Class 1 suddenly felt hope. The goddess of fortune had descended upon them. If they were to draw the Devil Class, their Low Profound Class 1 would be able to enter the third round of the preliminary round. Even if he lost. For Low Profound Class 1, this was also the highest honor. The class leaders of the four classes stood on the stage and began to draw the wooden sticks in Cloud's hand. The Low Profound Class 1 class monitor clenched the wooden stick in his hand, took a deep breath, and looked down. The end of the wooden stick was red. Instinctively, he looked at the wooden stick of the high profound class 2 class monitor. Blue. The low profound class 1 monitor breathed a sigh of relief. He then looked at the wooden stick in the hands of the class 2 class monitor. Blue. Blue, blue. Then, the class monitor of low profound class 1 could not suppress the ecstasy in his heart. He clenched the wooden skewer that had a red end and looked at Long Yun-Jean ecstatically. Indeed, the wooden stick in Long Yun-Jean's hand was red. High profound class 2 versus intermediate class 2. Low profound class 1 versus devil class. This was the team for the second round. Next, you will have an hour to discuss your tactics, or to replace the students who will participate in the match. As usual, each class will send out 10 students to fight. Cloudy Cloud announced and dispersed the class leaders on the stage. In this 1 hour, the 4 classes participating in the second round began to discuss countermeasures or select candidates. And the Heavenly Academy took the opportunity to show off the Academy's elegance. For example, the Heavenly Academy's Wu Fuzi who went on stage to perform martial arts. For example, the instructor would instruct the freshmen on a mock performance. There was also a speech by the dean and so on. Finally, after an hour, the gong for the second match rang. The competition began. The first match, Low Profound Class 1 versus Devil Class. The Low Profound Class 1 directly chose the 10 most talented students who were about to be promoted to the intermediate class. As for the Devil Class, it was still the same recipe, the same taste. Don't tell me these 10 students are the strongest in the Devil Class. It can't be. The performance in the first round. If it's the strongest, then Devil Class is too scary. Why isn't the class monitor of the Devil Class going up? Don't tell me that the class monitor is just an empty shell. The first reaction of anyone who saw Long Yun-Jean was, this young man was really handsome. This young man was really cold. Chapter 11:26. No, that's not right. If the class monitor of Devil Class was really an expert, he wouldn't have been assigned to Devil Class. Based on the current situation, if Devil Class sent out the best student with the highest profound rank to compete, there was still a 20% chance of defeating Low Profound Class 1. After all, if Devil Class students couldn't win, they could still run. Even if Low Profound Class 1 already knew Devil Class students' tricks. But if they couldn't outrun Devil Class, wouldn't they still fall into their trap? Therefore, the crowd was certain. The 10 students sent out by Devil Class were the strongest students in Devil Class. Thinking back to the scene of Devil Class students fighting against Low Profound Class 2. If this was the strongest student, Devil Class was really worthy of being called a trash class. Yun Duan announced the start of the competition. 2 classes, 10 students from the waiting area, walked towards the arena. Low Profound Class 1, the 10 students walked with high spirits. In the Devil Class, the 10 students were lazy and sloppy to the point of being unpresentable. With such a comparison, no matter how one looked at it, this match was like a match between Low Profound Class 1 and the Devil Class. Could it be, Devil Class could still think of other sinister tricks? Both parties stood straight and bowed to each other. The class monitor of Low Profound Class 1 was personally participating in the competition. After seeing the delicate young girl standing opposite him, his expression added some pride. Their Low Profound Class 1 could finally turn over a new leaf in this inter-class competition. Little beauty, don't worry, brother will definitely let you leave this arena without pain. End the battle quickly, I won't hurt you. The Low Profound Class 1 students, upon hearing the class monitor's teasing, all laughed out loud. Disdainful laughter, just like before, when Devil Class faced Low Profound Class 2, they were ridiculed. Ni Ruopan picked her ears, straightened her frail body, lightly snorted, then I'm really sorry, sister will definitely let you leave this arena in pain, and slowly torture you. Ha ha ha, did you hear that? This little beauty said she wants to torture us, ha ha ha. The class monitor turned his head, looked at the few students beside him, pointed at enrich, and laughed. The low profound Class 1 students burst into laughter. One by one, they held their stomachs and laughed so hard that they couldn't stand straight. Trash from the trash class, you can't even use ordinary mystical energy attacks, yet you still want to participate in the interclass competition. You even said that you want to torture us? Little beauty, don't say that we don't know how to be tender towards you. We promise that we will love you dearly. As they spoke, the words coming out of the low profound Class 1 students' mouths became extremely vulgar. Around the stage, there were spirit formation masters sent by the General Institute. They had set up a spirit formation to prevent the students from losing control and injuring the spectators. Their voices were not low. The onlookers could not hear it clearly. All he knew was that the two classes were exchanging harsh words with each other. However, the dean and the general hospital could hear it clearly. The low profound Class 1's filthy words made the dean's brows knit tightly together. Then, he looked at the seat of the chief elder. The expressions of the four elders did not change. But the white eyebrows furrowed. They had always been of virtue and prestige, and the people they got to know were those who were gentle and polite in front of them. How could the four elders remain indifferent to the words of low profound Class 1? The dean could not sit still. Just as he was about to stand up and reprimand the low profound Class 1's unbearable abuse. However, he heard a scream. Chapter 11:27. The students of low profound Class 1 were stunned. The onlookers were stunned. The dean was also stunned. Just now, the class monitor of low profound Class 1 was pointing at enrich, spewing out those unbearable words. Enrich suddenly stretched out her hand, and directly pinched the fingers of the class monitor of low profound Class 1. Her fingers twisted. The fingers of the class monitor of low profound Class 1, only to hear the crisp sound of bones breaking. That pain, it was simply unbearable. After the class monitor of low profound Class 1 knelt on the ground, enrich, who was standing opposite, blinked her bright eyes, turned around in surprise, and looked at her classmates. Look! I defeated the class monitor of low profound Class 1. Am I very powerful? The students of Devil class were also surprised, and nodded their heads. They kept praising enrich's power. The students of low profound Class 1 were unable to restrain their anger. The students of Devil class actually dared to make the first move. A bunch of trash. Actually dared to injure their class monitor. The class monitor represented the face of the entire class. Without saying a word, enrich directly broke the fingers of the class monitor of low profound Class 1. This was a ruthless slap on the face of low profound Class 1. Hence, the students of low profound Class 1 were enraged. Pointing at the nose of Devil class, he scolded, "You little whore. See if I don't beat you to death." The battle situation was on the verge of breaking out. Low profound Class 1 was obviously affected by the previous duel between Devil class and low profound Class 2. They were afraid that Devil class would use the same old tricks again. After the battle started, the 9 of them directly surrounded the students of Devil class, and pounced towards them. The Devil class who had their path blocked, did not even have the chance to run around on the stage. As expected. On the faces of the students of Devil class, they all revealed a panicked and frightened expression. When they saw the students of low profound Class 1 rushing up, preparing to gang up on them. This fist had not even landed on their bodies. The students of Devil class were already screaming in fear. Closing their eyes, they pulled the people beside them and shouted, "Help! Run!" The situation on the stage, once again became a comical stage show. The students of the Devil class covered their heads and scampered away like rats, screaming like ghosts. One by one, they closed their eyes and charged around, bumping into a student, then brandishing their fists, they landed on the low profound Class 1 student's body. That strength. It was even lighter than a tickle. The low profound Class 1 student just raised his hand and gave it a push. The Devil class students fell to the ground, howling like ghosts. The onlookers burst into laughter. Over at the president's seat, his expression was unsettled. In the waiting area of the class, there was a lot of discussion. Looking at the devil class students lying on the floor, the low profound class students picked up their class monitor. The class monitor endured the pain and clenched his teeth as he fiercely kicked a devil class student who was leaning against his leg and scolded angrily, "A bunch of trash, simply trash that can't be any more trash. Did you join the interclass competition just to get beaten up? Alright, I'll fulfill your wish." One kick was followed by the next, and it was followed up by the next. Unexpectedly, the student who was originally lying on the ground and howling in pain. Suddenly he fiercely hugged low profound Class 1 class monitor's leg. Class 1 monitor was livid with anger. He shook his leg, trying to break free from the devil class students. Who asked you to kick me? Who asked you to kick me? I'm going to beat you to death. Like a few-year-old child who was beaten to tears, words that were throwing a tantrum came out from the devil class students' mouths. Listening to it, it was extremely laughable. But the students of low profound Class 1 could not laugh. Especially the class monitor. Other than screaming, he could not make any other sound. That devil class student, after hugging the class monitor's thigh, his head directly bumped upwards. 1. Chapter 11:28. Low profound Class 1 class monitor, AOT. Out, the low profound Class 1 monitor who was lying on the ground, other than clutching his balls, he had no more energy to pay attention to the situation in the arena. He felt like he was about to break into pieces. So broken that he didn't want to. After the monitor fell down, the other students panicked. They wanted to support their own monitor. Before they could take a step, a leg inexplicably stretched out under their feet, using force to trip them. The low profound Class 1 student only had time to let out a scream before he fell heavily to the ground. Not waiting for that student to react, 2 students from Devil class directly pounced on the low profound Class 1 student. Attacking left and right, they beat him up wildly. The other students wanted to help, but they were all the same, tripped to the ground, and then 2 Devil class students pounced on them. Dirty tricks, here it comes again. The crowd's laughter grew louder and louder. They were also dumbstruck. To the Devil class students, this kind of opportunistic method. They were speechless to the extreme. Isn't this a little too cruel? In the power viewing area, the Shangguan power area. Butler Shangguan frowned as he stared at the farce on the arena, his face darkening. He raised his hand, his fingers twitching. Behind him, a middle-aged man dressed in a black robe, with a cold expression, who looked like he had experienced the vicissitudes of life, took a step forward. He said something in a low voice. That middle-aged man nodded slightly. After receiving the order, he was about to leave to make arrangements. But he bumped into a person. The middle-aged man turned his head, and what entered his eyes was a blood-red robe. Raising his eyes, he met with a pair of cold eyes that seemed to bear thousands of years of frost. He was stunned, and lowered his head in fear. Lord of the castle. Hearing the voice, Butler Shangguan immediately turned his head. After seeing Zhu Wu Exayan behind him, Butler Shangguan immediately stood up, and respectfully extended his hand to invite Zhu Wu Exayan to sit on his seat. Zhu Wu Exayan's expression was indifferent. He coldly glanced at the middle-aged man standing at the side, and said coldly, "Where do you want to go?" The middle-aged man's legs went soft, his body tensed, and he lowered his head, not daring to speak. "Let him run some errands for me, and do some things." Butler Shangguan continued, and smiled flatteringly. "Lord of the castle is also interested in the school's competition?" Zhu Wuxin ignored Butler Shangguan's question. His cold eyes fixed on the middle-aged man for a long time. His gaze darkened as he collected his thoughts. Yes. It was a single word without any fluctuation. No one could guess what Zhu Wu Exayan was trying to express. Just as he was about to speak, he saw Zhu Wuxin walk directly to Butler Shangguan's seat and sit down. When Butler Shangguan saw this, he secretly waved his hand at the middle-aged man, signaling him to leave quickly. Then, he followed behind Zhu Wuxin and sat down not far from him. The middle-aged man quietly disappeared into the crowd. Until the figure disappeared. Only then did Zhu Wuxin retract his gaze. I didn't expect Castle Lord to be interested in the class competition of the Heavenly Academy. A hearty laughter came from the side. He was the representative of the Yuchi family, the third head of the Yuchi family. A navy blue brocade robe wrapped around his extremely stout body, and a simple and honest silly smile hung on his face. However, no matter how stupid and honest he looked on his face, it didn't matter. The shrewd scheming in his eyes couldn't be hidden no matter what. When Butler Shengguan saw him walking over, his expression suddenly changed. They were listed as one of the 4 great families in the West Continent. In the dark, they had long been fighting to the death. The tranquility and harmony on the surface couldn't be maintained. Chapter 1129. The Yuchi third boss rubbed his plump belly and sat down on an empty seat at the side as if he was familiar with them. I wanted to say hello when I saw the Lord yesterday but missed the opportunity. It's rare to see the Lord today, so naturally I came over to say hello. Butler Shengguan suppressed the urge to chase him away. What greeting! He was obviously here to build a relationship with the Lord. Third head Yuchi looked at Zhu Wuxin with a smile. Lord, do you mind if I accompany you to watch the competition? Zhu Wuxin didn't even bat an eyelid. He didn't respond to his question. Instead, he asked another question. What do you think about the competition between the 2 classes? Third head Yuchi and Butler Shengguan were stunned. Zhu Wuxin was really interested in the interclass competition? And he even asked for their opinion? Third head Yuchi was the first to react and was overjoyed. This was agreeing to let him watch the competition with him. He could even discuss the competition process with the Lord. Wouldn't this shorten the distance between the Yuchi family and Death God Castle? He opened his mouth and was about to analyze the situation on the stage. But at the same time, he heard Butler Shengguan say, without a doubt, it must be low profound class 1 that one. Third head Yuchi shut his mouth. Zhu Wuxin looked at Butler Shengguan. Seeing Zhu Wuxin's reaction, Butler Shengguan smiled even more flatteringly. Devil class is the useless class of the Heavenly Academy. It's a place where students who passed the entrance examination but did not perform well in the freshman training are sent there. I heard 5th Miss mention about Devil class before. The students of Devil class might not even be able to defeat a normal person. Zhu Wuxin was still expressionless as he looked at him, waiting for him to continue. Looking at the situation on the stage, the Devil class students, other than pestering endlessly, barging their way in and having a little bit of luck, in terms of strength, they definitely cannot compare to low profound class 1. After saying that, he raised his eyebrows provocatively at third head Yuchi. As though he was proud. He had completely analyzed the situation. Third head Yuchi had no chance to speak. But, third head Yuchi only smiled faintly. In front of him, the words his big brother had said seemed to echo. That girl is a miracle. Not only did she create a miracle, she can also bring miracles to the people around her. The battle in the tomb of the Ling King. The Yuchi third master had mentioned it countless times to Big Brother. Yuchi family's patriarch's admiration towards Yi Qing Luo had totally surpassed his own son's death. His 2 sons were ruined in Yi Qing Luo's hands. But he was still unable to say out of righteous indignation that he could avenge his son and become enemies with Yi Qing Luo. Up until now, the Yuchi family had made too many enemies. There was no way out. If they were to offend Yi Qing Luo, what they would get in return, it was a pain that was even worse than what he was experiencing now. A Yuchi family head who was over 50 years old and was used to killing. Yet, he was so afraid of a 15-year-old girl. And this young lady was a student of the Devil class. Yi Qing Luo who could bring miracles to the people around her. How could the Devil class be as inferior as what Butler Shengguan said? I, on the other hand, feel that Devil class will obtain victory in the second round of the competition. Moreover, it will be well deserved. The honor of winning the second match. He belonged to the Devil class. Don't look at how the Devil class looks now, they look like they're in a sorry state. Chapter 1130. You're talking nonsense. Butler Shangguan saw that his analysis was overruled by the third head of Yuchi. And he even said that Devil Class's ability surpassed Low Profound Class 1? A useless class, without a teacher to teach them, a useless class that was left to fend for itself. How could they surpass Low Profound Class 1? In the first round, Devil Class was obviously at a disadvantage. If it wasn't for their good luck and their ability to escape, how could they have passed the first round? The corner of the Yuchi third head's lips curled into a cold smile. Luck? Then in the second round, they completely suppressed Low Profound Class 1 to the point that they had no chance to resist. Was that luck? Isn't it? Butler Shangguan scoffed. Once is luck, twice is luck, until now, can you still say that it's luck? When Butler Shangguan heard that, his face stiffened. Zhu Wuxian's interest was piqued. He squinted his cold eyes and looked at the third head of Yuchi. Tell me more. The third head of Yuchi rubbed his fat belly and smiled like the Buddha. He politely nodded at Zhu Wuxian, then shifted his gaze to the arena and gave his opinion. In the first round, Devil Class and Low Profound Class 2's duel. Although it looked like Devil Class was running away, but in actual fact, Devil Class students should have purposely let the Low Profound Class 2 students run all over the arena. When the Low Profound Class 2 students were tired, they would gather together and beat up the Low Profound Class 2 students. He spoke very quickly, but every word was spit out clearly. To let the Low Profound Class 2 students run all over the arena, and to be able to control them in one place, and at the same time to rest when they were tired, this is definitely not just because of luck. To be able to do this, one must have a strong observation and calculation ability. Also, Devil Class is very familiar with their opponent. If they did not understand their opponent's characteristics, it was impossible for Devil Class students, in such a short period of time, to plot against the Low Profound Class 2 students. Chu Wuxi nodded, his expression calm and unperturbed. The third head of Yuchi's heart was in his throat. He could not guess what answer Zhu Wuxian wanted to hear. He could only follow his own thoughts and continued, the second round, against Low Profound Class 1. In this battle, I have understood the tactics of the Devil Class. Barging around, pestering endlessly, this made the Low Profound Class 1 who was already bursting with confidence, even more confident, and even more disregard the Devil Class. But every time the Devil Class students barged in, or when they punched the Low Profound Class 1 students in the chest, it was all premeditated. What they want to do is to catch all the students of Low Profound Class 1 in one go. The Devil Class is so powerful. Butler Shangguan obviously did not believe it. He had long been influenced by Shangguan Liuli and looked down on the Devil Class. He only felt that the Yuchi third head's analysis was an alarmist. If the students in the Devil Class are so smart, their profound levels wouldn't be so low. Butler Shangguan squinted his eyes as he stared intently at the Devil Class students on the stage who were in a sorry state but were still clinging on to their opponents, trash with no fighting power at all. Even if you win against the Low Profound Class, the following matches will only be a joke. The Yuchi third boss was silent. She did not refute his words. Indeed, this was also what he felt strange about. The methods used by the Devil Class students were indeed despicable. But, this method was indeed based on their own ability to do so. To be able to play with the two classes of Low Profound Class in the palm of their hands, it was indeed the strength of the Devil Class. But, why, these students' profound levels were so low? Chapter 1131. Mystic Profound 4th Grade. No matter if it was Class 1 or Class 2, there were plenty of them in the Low Profound Class. Not to mention, the 10 Devil Class students on the stage, the highest profound grade was only Mystic Profound 4th Grade. If Devil Class really defeated Low Profound Class 1 and won the second round, then in the third round, no matter if it was against Intermediate Profound Class 2 or High Profound Class 2, Devil Class would definitely be the one to be beaten. These underhanded tricks should be thought of by Devil Class's Yiqing Luo. After Butler Shangguan heard the analysis, he had already agreed with Third Master Yuchi's point of view. He was able to defeat his opponent without suffering any damage. Although it looked pathetic, but in actual fact, Devil class was the biggest winner. Obviously they were just trash without any ability. Just based on these messy underhanded tricks, would they be able to walk to the end? Butler Shengguan snorted lightly, knowing that these underhanded tricks are shameful. Yiqing Luo doesn't even have the guts to appear on the stage. Even if Devil class won the 2 rounds, they would still be a joke in the future. Not only a bunch of trash from the waste class. A bunch of insidious and cunning people who only knew how to use underhanded tricks in a proper competition. What accompanied the Devil class was endless scolding and ridicule. No matter if it was Heavenly Academy or West Continent. There was a high possibility that there was no place for Devil class to stand. Gossip would often become the sharpest blade. Killing without any form. Third Master Yuchi remained silent. Towards Devil class's actions in the first and second round of the competition, they were able to lead their opponents and play with them. He indeed admired Devil class's students, to be able to execute these 2 underhanded tricks perfectly without any accidents or mistakes. To be able to train a bunch of low profound grade students to such a stage. He had already determined that this underhanded trick was guided by Yiqing Luo. Without Yiqing Luo, these students could not possibly reach such a stage. And one more very important point. Zhu Wuxin, who had been silent for a long time, suddenly spoke indifferently. The 2 of them immediately turned their gazes towards him solemnly. Zhu Wuxian's icy cold eyes stared at the stage, seemingly unfocused, yet as though he was seriously watching the battle situation on the stage. He didn't continue. The 2 of them didn't dare to open their mouths. The atmosphere was stiff. After a while, Zhu Wuxian's extremely cold voice, wrapped in frost, entered their ears. Chemistry. The 2 ice-cold words were like an icicle, piercing into their hearts. Both of them were startled. They exchanged glances before coming to a realization. Tacit understanding? Butler Shengguan muttered, not understanding the meaning behind Zhu Wuxian's words. But the Yuchi third boss suddenly clapped his hands. Right. Chemistry. The chemistry between the students of Devil class. After 2 consecutive duels, Devil class students were able to use their underhanded methods to perfection. Toying with the low profound class in the palm of their hands. It was not because of their profound rank. It was a tacit understanding. The 10 people in the arena, whether they were attacking or fleeing in all directions, were wailing like ghosts and howling like wolves. But they were all like Maltos. Stick together tightly. Even if they were separated, it wouldn't be more than 3 steps. Their teamwork allowed them to understand what the other party was going to do and where they were going with just a glance or a breath. This kind of tacit understanding. It was definitely not something that could be achieved overnight. Just like the triplets on the Godless Island, even though they had telepathy, they still needed to train for more than 10 years before they could truly become one. This Devil class was not simple. Chapter 1132. Dong, the sound of the gong rang. Elder Yun Duan's deep and resonant voice resounded throughout the West Square. Preliminary round, second class confrontation, first round, low profound class 1 versus Devil class wins. Following Yun Duan's announcement, the crowd burst out into a hubbub of noise. Vaguely, there were some boorish men scolding the unfairness of the class confrontation. On the arena. Low profound class 1 students laid on the ground, unable to move. Whereas Devil class's students, their clothes were messy, their hair was messy and they were in a sorry state. But they stood in the arena with ecstatic smiles on their faces. 1. Devil class's students, once again won in the class confrontation competition. If the first time was an accident, then what about the second time? Devil class, the class that was looked down upon by everyone. Devil class, the class that was labeled as trash, all the students were trash. Devil class, the class that made the Heavenly Academy students feel ashamed when they mentioned it. Devil class. They won the second round of competition. Low profound class 2 classes, successively lost in their hands. even if the method was a little underhanded. Using a little trick. But in the end, they won. High Profound Class 2 Waiting Area. Lu Shuiyu's icy cold face sunk, coldly looking at the arena, the Devil Class's students who were cheering happily, her hands clenched into fists. Lu Shuilan's face was filled with worry. Sister, Devil Class's students. How could they have such good luck? 2 consecutive rounds. They won both rounds. Yiqing Luo is obviously not here. When they saw that among the Devil Class's students, Yiqing Luo was not there, their hearts heaved a sigh of relief. Without Yiqing Luo in the Devil Class, they could easily crush and hang them up. But, without Yiqing Luo in the Devil Class, they won 2 rounds consecutively. Although, both were against the Low Profound Class. But, in the Academy's records, even if it was the Low Profound Class, their innate talent was much stronger than the Devil Class by hundreds or thousands of times. But, Devil Class won. That little slut has a lot of underhanded tricks. Lu Shuiyu glanced at the students beside her. The 3rd round of competition, after we meet with Devil Class, try to break their rhythm. As long as they don't coordinate with each other, their underhanded tricks will not be able to be used. No wonder she was the faculty council's vice president. Lu Shuiyu's observation ability was indeed amazing. After 2 matches, she had already seen through the tricks of the 10 students from Devil Class. And in the shortest time possible, he thought of a countermeasure to counter Devil Class's dirty tricks. The students of High Profound Class 2 nodded solemnly. They are High Profound Class 2 students. It was a higher class in the Heavenly Academy, second only to the class of gods. If they were to lose to the tactics of the Devil Class. For the High Profound Class 2. It was a lifetime of shame. They could only win, they could not lose. The gong sounded, signaling the start of the 2nd round. The students from High Profound Class 2 who were called to fight walked up the stage. The students that Lu Shuiyu pointed out were those who were above average in High Profound Class 2. Lu Shuilan was also appointed by her to participate in the competition. In the past few days, the Lu family had sent Lu Shuiyu many pills that could strengthen her body and mind. Right now, Lu Shuiyu's profound rank had reached the 1st level of the Earth Profound Realm. He was the one with the highest profound rank among the 10 students participating in the competition. Even the weakest was at the Mystic Profound 6th grade. He took out these 10 students. It was obvious that High Profound Class 2 was prepared to win the 2nd round in one fell swoop. Of course, High Profound Class 2 and Intermediate Class 2. Without a doubt, High Profound Class 2 would win. Although everyone already knew the outcome of this match, but they were still exceptionally excited. After all, after seeing the farce between Low Profound Class 1 and Devil Class, they urgently needed a real battle. Chapter 1133. Students from both sides went up and bowed to each other. There wasn't much conversation. Both sides directly started the battle. One had to admit. This match between High Profound Class 2 and Intermediate Profound Class 2 was much more exciting than the previous few matches. The students' coordination, judging the timing of their attacks, strong attacks etc. It made everyone's eyes lit up. But after the time it took to burn half a stick of incense, the spectators' hearts were all in suspense. They felt their blood boiling. Long Yunzhan squinted his azure blue eyes as he stared deeply at the obviously strange students on the stage. Shangguan Luli is not the only one who makes use of profound Yin Qi. This match, Intermediate Profound Class 2. Looks like they will definitely win. Intermediate Profound Class 2's target is Devil Class. Shangguan Luli wants to make use of Intermediate Profound Class 2 to chase us out of the preliminary round. Xiao Jin and the rest nodded. They could all tell. Shangguan Luli was not the only student in Intermediate Profound Class 2. 10 students. At least 4 students made use of Profound Yin Qi to control the students in the High Profound Class 2 to the extent that they had no chance to resist. However, no matter if it was the director or the main elder, no one discovered this. Profound Yin Qi, only those who knew the inside story would be able to sense it. Long Yunjan's expression turned colder and colder. He had not forgotten what the dark forces had done to him. He had not forgotten that the dark forces had manipulated him to attack Yi Qing Luo. He had not forgotten that his sword had pierced through Yan Shao Yi. Dark forces. It was all because of the dark forces. Even the devil class's students didn't put it to heart. But that matter would become a wound in his heart, a huge wound. He wanted to fill this wound. The only way was to destroy the dark forces. To kill the person who had manipulated him. Class monitor. Sensing the strong murderous aura from Long Yunjan, Qiao Jin immediately grabbed Long Yunjan's arm and raised his voice, "Class monitor." Long Yunjan's clear eyes flashed. He regained his usual indifference. Qiao Jin looked at him for some time as he tightened his grip on his arm. But he didn't continue speaking. He and Long Yunjan had been brothers for a few years. How would he not understand where Long Yunjan's sudden murderous intent came from? Long Yunjan wasn't willing to say, so he naturally wouldn't ask. This was obviously a scene of brotherly love. But in the eyes of others, that was not the case. Devil class won 2 rounds consecutively. Naturally, many people were paying attention to their situation. For example, the students from High Profound Class 1. "You guys, look!" A female student shouted loudly. It was hard to tell if she was agitated or excited. It's the class monitor of the devil class and the students of the devil class. The female student beside him immediately looked over. The class monitor of devil class, and a student beside him, were holding hands, their fingers intertwined. Most importantly, the 2 people intertwining their fingers were both men. It was a man. Was this a show of cutting one's sleeve in broad daylight? But to be honest, the appearance of the students in devil class is really much better than the other classes in the academy. Look at each and every one of them. The males are handsome and the females are beautiful. It's so pleasing to the eye. It's the one who's holding the devil class monitor's hand. Other than being a little ugly, the rest of them all make one's heart palpitate. Even though they were High Profound Class students. Even though he was a student who lost the competition. But they couldn't stop their rotten hearts from swelling. Devil class students, men holding hands and whatnot. Chapter 1134. The excitement of this group of female students also attracted the attention of other students. The students of High Profound Class 1 looked towards the direction of the devil class. After understanding the topic that the female students were talking about, Yi Zichen's eyes lit up. All the male students' faces darkened. Cut sleeves. What was there to be excited about? Cutting sleeves and whatnot is so disgusting. The attention of the students of High Profound Class 1 was completely diverted from the arena to the devil class. All of them rubbed the goosebumps on their bodies and felt disgusted. The actions of these male students caused a group of female students to roll their eyes at them. They even received a bunch of pedantic, unromantic, and other comments. The 2 of them are a bit like the 2 in our class. A female student whispered. The other female students instantly understood and nodded, similar. Very similar. While they were talking, the 2 people who were being discussed had already stood up from the waiting area of High Profound Class 1. Walking at the front, he was tall and slender, but he was tall and straight. He was handsome, and there was a brilliant smile on his lips. Walking at the back, his body proportion was perfect, slightly taller than the guy in front, and his expression was calm. The 2 of them stood up. All the female students instantly shut their mouths. Their hands covered their mouths tightly, not allowing themselves to scream out loud. It's Qi Yijing and Dong Huang Lang. It's this pair. They are a pair. Speaking of Dong Huang Lang and Qi Yijing. Although these 2 were freshmen who had just entered High Profound Class 1. But their talent and ability to comprehend were extremely strong. Moreover, they never gave up and had extremely strong willpower. In just a few months' time, they had already made the students of High Profound Class 1 completely accept their existence. Anne captured a bunch of fangirls. One attacking and one receiving. One hot and one cold. Like a Siamese twins, no matter what they did, they would stick together. Even when they went to the toilet, bathed, and slept, they were all together. This was simply a combination that made people's imagination run wild. Countless fangirls, with the eyes of a fangirl, watched Dong Huang Lang and Qi Yijing walk towards the direction of the devil class. High Profound Class 1 instantly exploded. In a hubbub, guessing that the two of them were going to find the devil class, could it be that they were going to be the pair with the class monitor? Talking to each other, what does it feel like to be cut sleeves? When Qi Yijing and the other two walked over, Long Yunzhan and the others had already sensed them. Dong Huang Lang was always friendly. He walked over and sat down next to Long Yunzhan. He put one hand on Long Yunzhan's shoulder. Long Yunzhan's eyes sank. He doesn't like strangers touching him. Even the students of the devil class would intentionally avoid him and not come into contact with him. A trace of frost appeared on Long Yunzhan's frozen handsome face. He released his chi and was about to attack Dong Huang Lang's hand. A large palm covered his shoulder. The profound chi in his body was suppressed by a force. Long Yunzhan frowned and looked up. "We don't mean to disturb you. We just want to ask why student Yi did not participate in today's competition." Classmate Yi? Yi Qing Luo? Students from the High Profound class would still come to inquire about Yi Qing Luo's whereabouts. Judging from his tone, he wasn't trying to pry. On the contrary, there was a hint of concern. Long Yunzhan retracted his imposing manner. "What's your relationship with Qing Luo?" "Friends," Dong Huang Lang said with a smile. "We met during the freshman training. We are friends with student Yi." Freshman training? At that time, he didn't know Yi Qing Luo. Long Yunzhan frowned and looked at Xiao Jin. Xiao Jin nodded. Chapter 1135. He was indeed considered as Yi Qing Luo's friend. However, ever since they were separated, they had been busy with their own studies and hadn't had much interaction. However, the two of them were not bad people. In today's competition, I'm afraid that Intermediate Profound Class 2 is aiming for your devil class. Qi Yijing said lightly, "If student Yi is not here, you'd better admit defeat in the third round." Admitting defeat did not mean that he was eliminated. Tomorrow's semifinals would be the true elimination round. If he could endure today's match and participate in the semifinals tomorrow, even if he lost, at least he wouldn't be injured or meet with any accidents. Long Yunzhan and Xiao Jin looked at each other. These two people know the motive of Intermediate Profound Class 2? He actually saw that Intermediate Profound Class 2 would win against High Profound Class 2? One had to know that everyone was sure that High Profound Class 2 would win this round. These two people had actually determined that Intermediate Profound Class 2 would be the class that would face off against Devil Class. There's something wrong with the students of Intermediate Profound Class 2. Qi Yijing went straight to the point. "When we were fighting just now, I felt that there was a force in the bodies of these students that did not belong to them." Qi Yijing and Dong Huang Lang were the two who had just entered the arena. The other 8 were carried out of the arena. Only the two of them, under the aggressive encirclement of Intermediate Profound Class 2, only suffered superficial injuries. When mentioning this matter, Dong Huang Lang, who had always been careless, also lowered his voice. "Yes, it's that force. It's disgusting, and we can't get close to them at all. If we react a little slower, we will definitely be killed." Dong Huang Lang gnashed his teeth when he mentioned the word merciless hand. He rubbed his aching chest. There were several places on his body where Shangguan Liuli had struck. Purple bruises had already appeared on his face. The students of Intermediate Profound Class 2 are cheating. Qi Yijing said lightly. He had cheated to the point where even the dean and the elders of the general courtyard could not detect it. Even if they knew that Intermediate Profound Class 2 was cheating, they couldn't say it out loud. Most importantly, the two of them were not very interested in winning. Just that, when they saw the battle between Intermediate Profound Class 2 and High Profound Class 2. Qi Yijing suddenly understood something. Intermediate Profound Class 2. If they wanted to obtain victory, they had to openly destroy the devil class on the stage. The enmity between Shangguan Liuli and Yiqing Luo was something they had heard from the other students. You guys can't beat Intermediate Profound Class 2. Qi Yijing looked at Long Yunzhan calmly. His tone was calm as still water. He didn't mean to mock her. It was a suggestion from the bottom of his heart. It's impossible for me to surrender. Long Yunzhan nodded slightly, expressing Devil Class's gratitude towards their concern. Devil Class students do not have the habit of retreating. The world had not perished, and they would not surrender even in death. Even though they knew that the road ahead was dangerous, they still didn't give up. They would also charge forward without hesitation. Because they were no longer weaklings. He was no longer trash. They wanted to move from the darkness to the light and welcome a new life. Because Yiqing Luo was still waiting for them. For Yiqing Luo, for the Devil Class, and for himself. They would never admit defeat. Most importantly, Intermediate Profound Class 2 would not give them the chance to admit defeat. They, because of Shangguan Liuli and Yiqing Luo's blood oath, had no choice but to admit defeat. Shangguan Liuli's motive was to eliminate Devil Class in today's preliminary round. Which meant that the third round of competition. Chapter 1136. Seeing the attitude of Devil Class's students, Qi Yijing didn't say anything more. Dong Huanglang scratched his head. If Student Yi is not around, I'm afraid it will be difficult for you to win. Thank you for your concern for Devil Class. Qiao Ji nodded at them. Immediately, he lowered his voice and warned, you should pretend that you don't know about this matter. Otherwise, you won't be able to defend against a fatal disaster. The two of them were stunned. Obviously, Devil Class's students had long seen through the motive of Intermediate Profound Class 2. They had also seen through the cheating of Intermediate Profound Class 2. Fatal disaster? The motive of Intermediate Profound Class 2 was not to beat Devil Class and become the Academy's #1 class. But wanted Devil Class's life? Seeing Qi Yijing's calm eyes, a glint flashed past. Qiao Jin kept the smile on his lips. I'm serious, the more you know, the faster you die. Dong Huanglang was stunned by this tone. It wasn't that he was afraid. But he was worried about Yiqing Luo, worried about Devil Class. If it really involved a matter of life and death. Then, between Intermediate Profound Class 2 and Devil Class, it wasn't as simple as Yiqing Luo and Shangguan Liuli's little girl feud. Just as he was about to speak, his shoulder was pressed down by someone. It was Qi Yijing. Qi Yijing forcefully pulled Dong Huanglang into his arms, ignoring his struggle. He said as he left, sorry to disturb you, if Student Yi is back, please send our regards. Saying that, he forcefully dragged Dong Huanglang and left Devil Class area. Long Yunzhan, Qiao Jin and the rest didn't even glance at the two of them. But their hearts were unable to calm down. Intermediate Profound Class 2's actions were so brazen. The dark forces were already so arrogant to this extent. Qing Luo, was she really alright? The Overlord really arrived in time? Dong. The gong was sounded. The two classes that were locked in a stalemate on the arena had finally decided the victor and loser. It made everyone's jaws drop. The class that won, Intermediate Profound Class 2. Not only did the High Profound Class 2 lose, they lost terribly. The profound practitioner of the Earth Profound Realm was directly abused to the point of being carried to the infirmary. The crowd expressed. Strange things happened all the time, but there were especially many today. A single Devil Class winning 2 rounds consecutively was already a huge surprise to everyone. Now there was another Intermediate Profound Class 2. Consecutively winning 2 classes from the High Profound Class. Moreover, it was the kind of crushing victory. The Heavenly Academy was going to soar to the skies this year. Of course, compared to the despicable fighting style of the Devil class, the true strength of the Intermediate Profound Class 2 was like a dark horse in the Heavenly Academy. After this battle, Intermediate Profound Class 2 could be promoted to High Profound Class students. On the Dean's side, the Dean's expression was relatively calm. The other elders had weird expressions on their faces. He couldn't tell if he should be happy or worried. The students from Intermediate Profound Class 2 had crushed the students from the High Profound class. Logically speaking, this was an honor for the Heavenly Academy. However, the High Profound Class 2 that had always enjoyed the higher education of the Academy was actually crushed by the Intermediate Profound Class 2. If it was a battle between High Profound Class 1 and High Profound Class 2, it would be reasonable for High Profound Class 1 to win. But, Intermediate Profound Class 2 was separated by High Profound Class 1. Directly defeating Class 1, then slaughtering his way into Class 2, this would definitely make the headquarters suspect that the Heavenly Academy didn't know how to judge the students' comprehensive ability and allocated them to the most suitable class. For example, Shangguan Liuli, who was the brightest star in this competition. Chapter 1137. The third round of competition was between Intermediate Profound Class 2 and War Devil Class. Two dark horses, who were supposed to be eliminated in the first and second round of competition. But they had successfully made it to the third round. The strength of Intermediate Profound Class 2 was already so strong. Then, could Devil Class still rely on their little tricks to win the preliminary round? Perhaps, Intermediate Profound Class 2 would not give them this chance. However, after experiencing two consecutive dark horses turning the tables, the spectators didn't dare to say who would be the true winner of the preliminary round. The gong was struck. Yun Duan looked at the direction of the waiting area. Now, will both classes please choose 10 students each to compete on stage? Intermediate Profound Class 2 made a substitution. Other than Shangguan Liuli and the 3 students who had the Profound Yin Qi, the other 6 were all changed. On the side of Devil Class, there was also a change of members. Facing the students from Intermediate Profound Class 2 who had the Profound Yin Qi to increase their own strength. The other students in Devil Class had no ability to contend against them. Hence, Long Yunzhan, Xiao Jin, Yan Xiaoyi and the rest all went up on stage. Before going up on stage, Long Yunzhan walked to Kitty Li and whispered a few words into her ear. Kitty Li's originally unhappy expression from being rejected to go up on stage immediately shone. Her bright eyes blinked and she nodded her head vigorously. Long Yunzhan and the rest went up on stage. His peripheral vision kept looking at Kitty Li's direction. The surrounding people's attention were all focused on the 2 dark horse classes on stage. No one noticed that Kitty Li had already left the Devil Class silently. Until Kitty Li's breath completely disappeared, Long Yunzhan then slowly retracted his gaze. If Kitty Li went up on stage, there was indeed a chance to increase their chances of winning. But, Kitty Li was after all not a student of Devil Class. The interclass competition this time was an extremely important competition to the Devil Class. It concerned their future and lives. There was no room for any mistakes. Hence, he chose to reject the preferential treatment given by the Academy from the start. Devil Class would rather use the method of pretending to be a pig to eat the tiger, to fight round after round of competition. And not because of the so-called preferential treatment, they won in the end and became a topic of ridicule. More importantly, he needed Kitty Li to do something. In the entire Devil Class, only Kitty Li could do it. On the arena, the students from both classes stood still. Yun Duan looked left and right and frowned. Why is there one person missing from the Devil Class? Yes. There were only 9 people from the Devil Class. A 10-man team competition and only 9 people from the Devil Class came up? Why are there only 9 people in Devil Class? Could it be that Devil Class doesn't dare to fight against Intermediate Profound Class 2, and none of them are willing to go up the stage, so there are only 9 of them? That's not right. If the students of Devil Class don't dare to participate in the competition, they wouldn't be sitting there quietly watching the competition, right? Look at the expressions of the Devil class students, they're very calm. There's no sense of fear or an atmosphere of not daring to go up on stage. What is the Devil class up to this time? Don't tell me, it's another new trick from the Devil class? The surrounding crowd was in a flurry of discussion, unable to comprehend the actions of the Devil class. Devil class against Low Profound class 2, it was a battle that they would definitely lose. Unfortunately, Devil class was missing one person to participate in the competition. Shangguan Liuli stood right at the front. She raised her head arrogantly and sneered in disdain. Devil class monitor, are you looking down on intermediate profound class 2? Long Yunzhan looked at her calmly. The last position is reserved for Qing Luo. The entire crowd was silent. Chapter 1138. For Yi Qing Luo. Didn't Yi Qing Luo not appear at all? Don't tell me Devil class is still hoping that Yi Qing Luo will lead them to victory? Stop joking, today's competition is about to end and Yi Qing Luo hasn't even seen her shadow. She's obviously scared. Everyone felt that Devil class's move was a joke. However, Long Yunzhan's expression remained unchanged as he remained indifferent. His azure blue eyes were emotionless as he stared at Yunzhan in a neither servile nor overbearing manner. As though he was infected by this pair of eyes. Yunzhan's tightly knitted brows slowly relaxed. He sighed softly. Are Devil class students confirmed? Confirmed. Without any hesitation, the 9 of them answered in unison. Since both parties have no objections, then the competition officially begins. A gong rang, stirring up everyone's hearts. Yunzhan was about to retreat when he saw Shangguan Luli raising her hand and shouted, "Wait a minute." Shangguan Luli placed her hands behind her back as she slowly took a step forward with an arrogant expression. 2 months ago, my intermediate class 2 and Devil class had already agreed on a challenge for the interclass competition. The surrounding crowd remained silent. Moreover, I, Shangguan Luli, and student Yi Qing Luo, have also agreed on a blood oath to win the interclass competition. This matter, there were quite a number of people present who knew about it. After all, when they were in King Ling's tomb, Yi Qing Luo had agreed on a blood oath with Shangguan Luli in front of all the major forces. So the reason why the intermediate class 2 fought bravely, was to carry out the blood oath with Yi Qing Luo till the end? Today's battle, according to Heavenly Academy's rules, whoever wins will be able to enter the finals directly. And the losing class will participate in tomorrow's semi-finals. Shangguan Luli's lips curled up coldly as her eyes revealed an extremely cold intent. Shangguan Luli, can I represent the intermediate class 2 to make a request to the director? She cupped her fists and looked respectfully at the director. The director naturally knew about the profound yin qi in Shangguan Luli's body. Shangguan Luli's request was the master's order. He naturally had no objections. Please speak. In this battle, if the Devil class loses, the Devil class will be completely eliminated and will be disqualified from the interclass competition. Shangguan Liuli said word by word. The onlookers were in an uproar. He was disqualified from the interclass competition. This also meant that Devil class's interclass competition this year would stop at the 3rd round of the preliminary round. He didn't even have the qualifications to participate in the semi-finals. Isn't this too much of a gamble? What if intermediate profound class 2 loses? Yan Xiaoyi suppressed the surging anger in her chest as she asked with a cold smile. Shangguan Liuli smiled confidently. Intermediate profound class 2 will definitely not lose. Is that so? Yan Xiaoyi raised her eyebrows, her smile carrying a tinge of mockery. Devil class will definitely not lose. You. Shangguan Liuli gritted her teeth. If intermediate profound class 2 loses this battle, then intermediate profound class 2 will be disqualified from the competition. Student Shangguan. In the intermediate profound class 2 waiting area, a few students suddenly stood up. Their eyes were filled with disbelief. Losing in the preliminary round meant disqualification? How come they didn't know about this matter? Lu Xiaoyu couldn't control her temper as she stared angrily at Shangguan Liuli. What right do you have to decide on the matters of intermediate profound class 2? Class monitor Xie didn't even say anything and you're already pointing your fingers here. Have you asked for the opinions of the students? Shangguan Liuli slowly placed her gaze on Lu Xiaoyu. Chapter 1139. Was this considered as talking? Was this considered as discussing? This was obviously her own decision and she just casually told the students about it. The students in the intermediate profound class 2 started to feel conflicted. Although the reason why they were able to enter the third round was mainly because of Shangguan Luli. But this didn't mean that they had to listen to Shangguan Luli's arrangements. This was not putting them in his eyes at all. I don't agree. What right do you have to represent the intermediate profound class 2 and bet the future of the intermediate profound class 2 on the preliminary round? Lu Xiaoyu bit her lower lip as her beautiful eyes turned red. Shangguan Luli arrogantly raised her chin as she looked at her in disdain. Based on the current me, I am the strongest person in the intermediate profound class 2. The strong were respected. No matter where it was the same. In the academy, in the class, it was the same. The reason why Xia Yan was able to become the intermediate profound class 2's class monitor was because his ability was indeed above all the students in the intermediate profound class 2 and he was resourceful. Now, Shangguan Luli had already replaced Xia Yan's strongest position. Then, the intermediate profound class 2 should listen to her arrangements. As long as we don't acknowledge you as the strongest person in the intermediate profound class 2, you will never be able to replace class monitor Xia. Lu Xiaoyu argued with reason as she clenched her fists tightly. Shangguan Luli didn't bother about her as she looked directly at the director. What does director think? This. The director pretended to be in a difficult position as he looked towards Devil class. The academy's interclass competition is to evaluate each class or student's overall ability. Everything is based on the students. If Devil class has no objections, I naturally have no objections. Shangguan Luli's beautiful eyes were filled with disdain as she looked coldly at Long Yunzhan. Your Devil class, without Yi Qing Luo, is equivalent to a pool of dead water. Without her around, you don't have the guts to compete? Goading? Long Yunzhan's icy cold voice was devoid of emotions. Devil class's students weren't fools. Shangguan Luli's motive was obviously to expel Devil class out of the competition. As long as Devil class lost the right to compete, the final champion would definitely be the intermediate profound class 2. Which meant that Yi Qing Luo and Shangguan Luli's blood oath bet, Yi Qing Luo had lost. What awaited Yi Qing Luo was the consequences of her meridians being broken and her profound jade heart being destroyed. And rejecting Shangguan Luli's request. If the Devil class entered the third round of the preliminary round, it would be considered as their loss. There was no way they could make a comeback in the semi-finals tomorrow and the finals the day after tomorrow. As long as Yi Qing Luo returned. As long as they won first place, there was hope. How could they agree to Shangguan Liuli's request? General? You bunch of trash dare to call yourselves generals? Shangguan Liuli wildly laughed. Cowardly trash, this miss will properly teach you a lesson today. Profound Qi burst out of his body. Powerful profound Qi encircled her body. A powerful force that was strong enough to destroy the arena erupted with a rumble. If it wasn't for the fact that the barrier around them was strong enough. Perhaps this profound energy could directly shatter the entire arena. Shangguan Liuli made her move. Long Yunzhan's expression turned serious as he shouted in a low voice, "Be careful." With a flip of his palm, a blue longsword appeared in his hand. The hilt of the sword spun a few times and was firmly held by him. The long sword flashed and flew straight towards Shangguan Liuli's face. The other students also began to attack. This time, Devil class didn't act like how they did previously, to deal with intermediate profound class 2. Instead, it was a battle of strength that conformed to the norm. Chapter 1140. They wanted to find the students of intermediate profound class 2 who had Xian Yin Qi in their bodies in the shortest time possible. Test the opponent's profound grade and habits, then filter it in their minds and analyze the most suitable way to deal with the enemy. This was what Yiqing Luo had taught them. Know yourself and know your enemy, then you can win every battle. The ability to observe and analyze was crucial on the battlefield. But, very quickly, the Devil class students were sweating profusely as they were pushed back by the attacks with great difficulty. Extremely strenuous, extremely pathetic. Because, they realized. The few students from the intermediate profound class 2 who were participating in the competition. All of them had profound yin qi in their bodies. Under the situation of hiding their profound grade, facing these students' aggressive attacks, every move aimed at their vital points, it was inevitable that the Devil class students would not be able to withstand it. Even so, the performance of the Devil class students stunned the onlookers. This was totally different from the Devil class who played dirty tricks and scurried around the stage. Although the profound grade was rather low. Although the attack was rather weak. But for the waste class, to be able to achieve this level was already very good. Yes. Very good. At least, it was enough to match the strength of the low profound class. Intermediate profound class 2 is thinking. Dong Huang Lang's usual smiling face was filled with worry as he tugged the sleeves of the man next to him. Jing, will Devil class? Yes. Qi Jing grabbed his hand with a calm face and indifferent tone, yes. Dong Huang Lang's pupils suddenly widened. Devil class cannot lose. Student E is not back yet. So what? Qi Jing glanced sideways, his cold gaze fell on him. Lang, this is the fate of Devil class. You're not a student of Devil class, even if you want to help, you have the heart but not the power. Dong Huang Lang pursed his lips. Intermediate profound class 2 obviously saw Devil class's teamwork ability. I always thought that Shangguan Luli was a stupid girl like a pig, I didn't expect that. She improved so quickly. Qi Jing's tone of praise was still that emotionless. Indeed, the entire Heavenly Academy, from the elders to the students and staff. They were all extremely curious about Shangguan Luli's change. Ever since Shangguan Luli entered the school, because she was not on good terms with Yiqing Luo, and her temperament was too arrogant. Most importantly, her brain wasn't working very well. But who would have thought that in just a few short months, Shangguan Liuli had not only changed from a young lady who couldn't even run a few laps during the freshman training, but had also become a powerful high-level profound practitioner. Furthermore, his mind was starting to shine. In the arena. Intermediate Profound Class 2 was entangled with Devil Class. The students of Intermediate Profound Class 2 had specially chosen a place. Directly fighting and chasing, he separated the 9 Devil Class students by a long distance. The teamwork of the Devil Class was simply too strong. He had to separate them and defeat them one by one. This was the tactic of Intermediate Profound Class 2. As long as they did not allow the students of the Devil Class to have the chance to cooperate with each other. Devil Class could only fall to the ground, raising the white flag and surrender trash. Shangguan Liuli's method was indeed effective. Just as the 9 of them pulled apart from each other, the Devil Class students obviously started to be unable to hold on any longer. He couldn't even dodge a simple punch. No one noticed that the 9 Devil Class students, before they were pulled apart from each other, exchanged glances. The corners of Shangguan Liuli's mouth curled up into a cold smile, and she retracted her gaze from those trash. She focused all her attention on the Devil Class monitor in front of her. This Long Yunzhan was indeed the class monitor of Devil Class. Shangguan Liuli didn't care about the clothes that had been torn on her abdomen. She gripped her dagger tightly and flashed towards Long Yunzhan. The sharp double-edged dagger in his hand pressed against Long Yunzhan's neck. Devil Class monitor. Shangguan Liuli clenched her teeth as she spat out these few words. The dagger in his hand had yet to slash across Long Yunzhan's neck. She saw that the person she had been entangled with had disappeared like a ghost in the blink of an eye. Her face instantly darkened. This class monitor of the Devil Class had actually embarrassed her twice. The current her was already a high-leveled profound practitioner of the Earth Profound Realm. A piece of trash from the Devil Class had actually caused her to lose face time and time again. Good. Very good. She wanted to see, what other abilities did this class monitor of the Devil class have? She gave that intermediate profound class 2 student a look, and the both of them ran towards Long Yunjan's direction at the same time. Chapter 1142. Below the stage, the spectators were completely stunned. This battle made all of them astonished and shocked. Devil class students. Their reaction to battle is not bad. Although they looked to be in a sorry state and suffered quite a number of injuries, but the speed of their attacks and the reaction to dodge, they totally don't look like students from the waste class. Devil class monitor is at least in the mystic profound 6th level. No, that's not right. It should be even higher. High profound class 2's Lu Shuelan, in the earth profound realm, was defeated by Shengguan Lu Li. He can actually escape unscathed under the siege of Shengguan Lu Li and another student, attacking and defending freely. Heavens! Devil class monitor is so handsome. So handsome. Unknowingly, everyone's gaze had already been attracted by the students of Devil class. But for the so-called waste class trash, to have such a dazzling performance, it made them shocked and amazed. The students at the waiting area of Devil class listened to the praises of those people. They couldn't help but snort coldly in their hearts. Just this level alone was enough to shock these people to no end. Then, if all the students of Devil class collectively released their profound grades, wouldn't they be so shocked that they fainted on the spot? On the stage, the battle was still ongoing. It continued for a full incense worth of time. The result of the battle had yet to be decided. No, it should be said, the result was very obvious. Devil class students were obviously not a match for intermediate profound class 2. But, one Long Yunjan led the rhythm of everyone in intermediate profound class 2. Even if there was no team cooperation, but their rhythm was still led by Long Yunjan. Even if they were injured and fell to the ground pathetically, Devil class students still stood up without hesitation and rushed forward again. After being swallowed by the profound Yin Qi, a few students, their strength and their own overall ability, all received a huge increase. Naturally, their own souls would also be affected by the profound Yin Qi. As a student, their conscience and the youth's inexperience were all completely swallowed. Right now, they were just tools controlled by the profound Yin Qi. His attacks, without hesitation. His attacks, without mercy. His attacks aimed for the vital points. Devil class students, even if they released all their profound grade strength, they might not be the opponents of these tools. Other than Long Yunjan, the other 9 students' faces and bodies were already covered with wounds. Xiao Jin was slightly better off. He was only punched on the left side of his face. As for the other students, their injuries worsened. Every punch or palm strike from these tools, which knew no pain, would mobilize the mysterious Yin Qi in their bodies. They do not use weapons. He had to rely on his fists and palms. This was the biggest torture to the Devil class. Heavy punches landed on his face and chest. A heavy roundhouse kick landed on the knee and abdomen. Falling down, they picked themselves up again. Not a single one of the Devil class students retreated. No one gave up the chance to continue fighting. They believed in only one thing: persevere, wait for Yi Qing Luo's return. They believed that Yi Qing Luo would definitely rush back. Ah, a blood-curdling scream. Yan Xiaoyi's chest was struck and her petite body flew backwards. Xiao Yi. Xiao Jin shouted in panic as he lifted his leg and kicked away the intermediate profound class 2 student who was pestering him, as he sprinted towards the direction of Yan Xiaoyi. He bent down and helped Yan Xiaoyi up. Just as he was about to open his mouth, Yan Xiaoyi stared at his back, her beautiful eyes enlarged as she endured the pain coming from her chest. Be careful. Her arms wrapped tightly around Xiao Jin's neck. Chapter 1143. Bam! With an explosion, a huge hole was blasted open on the ground where the two of them were. Ugh! Yan Xiaoyi's movement had affected the wound on her chest as she groaned in pain. Xiao Jin hugged her tightly as the two of them swiftly stood up. Are you all right? I'm fine. Yan Xiaoyi took a deep breath as she endured the pain from her body. In her beautiful eyes, there was a cold glint as she looked coldly at the two people at the side of the hole. The intermediate profound class 2 students who were entangled with her and the students who were entangled with Xiao Jin. They had already joined forces and were prepared to attack them. Looking at Yan Xiaoyi's pale face, Xiao Jin's eyes were sinister. Someone he couldn't bear to hurt. Intermediate profound class 2 students shouldn't dare to hurt her. Xiao Jin roared as a shocking cold glint shot out from his eyes. A strong gust of air rushed up to the sky. The air in the entire arena congealed into a block. His figure stretched out. He had already charged towards the two students. Both his palms were red, as though they were on fire. Directly hitting the chests of the two students. The two students were gloating over the huge destructive power that they had created. A whirlwind was stirred up. It cut their cheeks. Immediately after, the two of them felt a sharp pain in their chests as their bodies flew backwards. Before they could react, the two of them fell heavily onto the ground outside of the arena under the pressure of the strong palm chi. The two of them cried out in pain as they rolled on the ground. What did the devil class students do? That devil class student struck two intermediate profound class 2 students out of the arena with his bare hands. Heavens! Did you feel that strong profound energy from his body just now? Did you feel it? I don't believe it. I don't dare to believe it. How can a devil class student be so powerful? Being struck out of the arena meant that these two students had already been eliminated. Just now, Xiao Jin had merely struck out a palm and eliminated two intermediate profound class students. The surrounding crowd stood up agitatedly, unable to believe their own eyes. Just now, the profound energy from Xiao Jin's body was so thick, so strong. Xiao Jin. Yan Xiaoyi clutched her chest, her brows tightly knitted as she approached him from behind. Are you crazy? Just now, he had actually used his full strength to unleash that palm strike. Didn't they already inform him before he stepped onto the dueling ring? Before Yi Qing Luo returned, none of them were to reveal their true abilities. Xiao Jin did not reply. He spread out his hands and stared at them without blinking. He was extremely focused. Yeah, he's crazy. Seeing that Yan Xiaoyi was injured and almost turned into minced meat by those two students from intermediate profound class 2. He went completely crazy. He was already being very rational by not killing the two students on the spot. His fingers curled up one by one. He closed his eyes, and the flames on his body suddenly dissipated. When he opened his eyes again, he looked at the two students who were being carried off the stage by the doctors and asked in a trembling voice, I did it? After all, they had been friends for many years. Yan Xiaoyi saw through Xiao Jin's plan with one look. She immediately agreed and raised her voice. Yes, you eliminated two students. When did you become so powerful? I don't know. Xiao Jin was at a loss. He retracted both his hands with a look of disbelief on his face. This situation made the onlookers, who were originally very excited, also quiet down. Could it be that the energy that devil class had unleashed earlier was merely an explosion of rage? Chapter 1144. The potential of humans was beyond human imagination. In a moment of rage, in a moment of crisis, etc. In order to protect themselves or protect someone or something, they would erupt with strength that was several times, 100 times, or even 1,000 times stronger than usual. It was all because of a belief. Of course, after the eruption, the profound practitioner's own strength would also be exhausted in that instant. Just now, was it because the devil class students were desperate for survival? That's why they exploded with such a strong force and eliminated two students from the intermediate profound class 2? That was the only excuse. Only then could it make those onlookers who didn't have high hopes for the devil class feel a little better. Trash students of devil class, how could they have such strong and dense profound energy? No matter how he thought about it, it was impossible. Yes, they could only accept the Survival Valley's unexpected outburst. On the stage, Xiao Jin did not have much time to spare, so he continued his performance. Although 2 students had been eliminated, the score was now 8-9. However, it was unable to change the situation on the stage. The student who had been attacking Long Yunzhan with Shangguan Liuli had already retreated, the large blade in his hand directly slashing towards Xiao Jin's face. Profound practitioners would exhaust all of their strength after erupting. Take advantage of this moment to injure Xiao Jin. They could directly eliminate Xiao Jin from the competition. Yan Xiaoyi caught a glimpse of the long saber, which was clearly overflowing with a treacherous and cold yin qi. Her heart tightened. If he allowed this weapon, which had been eroded by the mysterious yin qi, to cut his skin, it was highly possible that the mystical yin qi was channeled into his body through his wounds and blood. She quickly wrapped her arms around Xiao Jin's firm waist. Extending his feet, he was about to display the set of footwork that Yi Qing Luo had taught him. However, Xiao Jin's speed was faster than her. In just a moment, the 2 of them had already used that set of footwork to quickly disappear in front of the attacking student. How could I let you protect me? A low and hoarse voice rang beside Yan Xiaoyi's ears. Yan Xiaoyi's eyelashes trembled slightly, her delicate body, which was being hugged tightly by the man's arm, stiffened slightly. He didn't need her protection. What he wanted was the protection of another person. She looked down to hide the pain in her eyes. Suddenly feeling the downcast mood of the person in his arms, Xiao Jin furrowed his brows and lowered his eyes in confusion. He was saying sweet nothings. It was a serious flirtatious remark. Normally, when a girl heard this, wouldn't she throw herself into his arms shyly? Why was it that when it came to Yan Xiaoyi, it made her feel conflicted towards him? Xiao Jin, who had a baffled look on his face, had no time to think. The next wave of attacks had already arrived. A bunch of trash, but their willpower is quite strong. Shangguan Liuli looked at the situation. Even though she had lost 2 students, she did not panic. In any case, in this match, Intermediate Profound Class 2 would definitely win. Now, she was not using her full strength. He just wanted to torture the devil class. He could defeat the devil class in minutes. After going through so much trouble with the devil class, they had fought till the very end in exhaustion. When they thought that they would be able to win, the tables were turned in one move. Which one was more painful to the point of wishing for death? Shangguan Liuli sneered, still waiting for Yi Qing Luo, that little slut, to return. Hearing Yi Qing Luo's name, the eyes of the usually expressionless Long Yunzhan flickered slightly. The long sword in his hand swept up a blue wave of air as his attacks were swift and fierce. Shangguan Liuli quickly dodged. His figure was like a ghost. Chapter 1145. Long Yunzhan's eyes suddenly turned cold and frosty. The long sword in his hand was also stained with a thick chill. He directly flicked away the dagger that was close to him and flipped the long sword. The blue sword chi shone brilliantly. A cracking sound was heard. The double-blade dagger suddenly broke. The black chi dispersed. Shangguan Liuli's expression sunk as she staggered backwards. Before she could steady herself, she saw that blue sword ray, sweeping out from the long sword. Like a huge blue dragon bearing its fangs and brandishing its claws, it instantly tore a huge pit on the stage between them. The blue dragon bared its fangs and brandished its claws, devouring Shangguan Liuli malevolently. Angry? Shangguan Liuli couldn't help but laugh. Your thoughts were exposed and you flew into a rage out of humiliation? She raised the other double-blade dagger, blocking the blue dragon's charge. She raised her leg and stomped hard on the stage, contending against the blue dragon. Unfortunately, little brother, the person you are waiting for will never return. Shangguan Liuli smiled sinisterly, smiling till her eyebrows curved, looking even more ruthless. The profound Qi in her body was activated. The palm wind stirred up a violent hurricane. A loud boom sound was heard. Shangguan Liuli had already held the double-blade dagger in her hand, directly cutting that illusory blue dragon into two halves. Shangguan Liuli flew up, laughing venomously. My lord has already arranged everything, waiting for her there. Once she goes over, Yi Qing Luo, that little slut, won't dare to not return. She felt extremely carefree. These people were all Yi Qing Luo's dogs. She wanted to torture these dogs, one by one, until they were crippled. And then bring them in front of Yi Qing Luo. Let her see with her own eyes how she tormented these dogs, bit by bit, to death. The more she thought, the more intense the madness in Shangguan Liuli's eyes became. Long Yunzhan's hand, which was holding the long sword, suddenly stiffened. A trace of coldness, like 10,000 years of ice, flickered in his eyes. The icy cold voice, like frost, every word, was like an icicle, piercing into one's heart. Say it again. After Shangguan Liuli forced Long Yunzhan's illusory blue dragon back, she flew a few steps back. She was extremely leisurely. With her current strength, even if she was alone, it was enough to defeat everyone in Devil class. Even if I repeat it 10 times, 100 times, the truth will still be the same. Shangguan Liuli giggled, thinking of Yi Qing Luo's miserable look when she was tortured by the Lord. The more excited she felt. She was already imagining it. Once the competition was over, he would rush over to the Lord's place. She should be able to let Yi Qing Luo witness with her own eyes how she destroyed everything she had. Even though she knew it was a trap, Yi Qing Luo, that little slut, still went without hesitation. She chuckled with extreme disdain. She can only blame herself for being stupid. Women didn't need any extra feelings. Because once a woman had feelings, she would no longer be decisive and decisive. Therefore, she abandoned her feelings. Her only motive was to be above Yi Qing Luo, to step on her fiercely. He did not hesitate to use his own soul, his own resentment, as a condition for the exchange. In exchange for the help of the dark forces. She liked her current self very much. Strong enough, strong enough. Whether it was the students of the class or the high profound class. After seeing her, the disdain and disgust from before had turned into respect. This was the glory that ability brought to her. A woman like you will never understand. Long Yunzhan's expression was indifferent, as he squinted his sharp blue icy eyes. This wasn't stupid. But because of feelings. Chapter 1146. If the same thing happened to him. The dark forces would use any student of Devil class as a threat. Even if he knew that the other party had planned this beforehand and had set up all sorts of traps. He would still go forward without hesitation. Because, if anything happened to the students he cared about, he would live in regret for the rest of his life. Because, he cared about them. This kind of feeling, for a stupid girl like Shangguan Liuli who only knew how to achieve her own goals, she would never understand. She will definitely come back. Long Yunzhan's tone was firm, confident, and without any hesitation. His eyes were cold, his long sword swept. The sword ray blossomed brightly. Ah! Shangguan Liuli's shoulder was pierced by his sudden sword. Her little face instantly turned pale. The blue sword qi was still lingering on the wound on her shoulder. With a slight movement, it affected her muscles, causing waves of throbbing pain. Damned Devil class. How dare they hurt her? Good. Very good. Since the class monitor of Devil class wanted to die so much, she would grant them their wish. Let them fall to the ground in a state of despair. Shangguan Liuli's eyes flashed. Rays of profound qi wantonly moved from the bottom of her eyes. In an instant, her entire body was covered with thick profound qi. One wave overshadowed the other. One wave overshadowed the other. The entire arena set off huge waves on the outer layer, the air waves were monstrous. Billowing smoke curled up. Below the arena, the spectators who were blocked by the barrier, although they were not affected by the profound chi on the arena. But they could clearly feel the air waves around Shangguan Liuli. How aghast it was. Butler Shangguan, unable to control the excitement in his heart, stood up abruptly, and shouted in amazement, Earth Profound Level 1. Earth Profound Level 2. Earth Profound Level 3. Yes. Shangguan Liuli's profound rank was rising rapidly. One grade after another, it jumped up. It shocked Butler Shangguan so much that he wanted to stand on the table, singing loudly without caring about his image. In the end, Shangguan Liuli's profound rank stopped at Earth Profound Level 5. Her breathing gradually stabilized. Earth Profound Level 5. Earth Profound Level 5. Shangguan Liuli, a student of Intermediate Profound Class 2. He had actually become a 5th grade Earth Xian. Shangguan Liuli's profound rank had been stable at the 5th level of the Earth Profound Realm since the first few rounds of the preliminary round. All of a sudden, it rose 5 ranks in a row. Everyone's jaws dropped in shock. My jaw almost dropped to the ground. What kind of freak is this? The Shangguan clan's 5th young mistress actually possessed such formidable strength. Teacher Ren from Intermediate Profound Class 2 was also stunned. Your Intermediate Profound Class 2 actually has a 5th level Earth Profound Realm student. Why didn't you say so earlier? The High Profound Class 1 teacher nudged the teacher beside him. Earth Profound 5th grade, their High Profound Class 1 losing to Intermediate Profound Class 2 wasn't an injustice. The teacher of Intermediate Profound Class 2 shook his head in astonishment. I don't know. In Intermediate Profound Class 2's teacher Ren's heart, he actually didn't have a good impression of this capricious and troublemaking 5th Miss Shangguan. The memories of Shangguan Liuli. It also stopped at the time when she formed cliques in the class, and recklessly threw a tantrum. He didn't expect that she was so strong now. As the teacher of a class, he basically checked every student's waist tag every 3 days to confirm the changes in the student's strength. Shangguan Liuli's profound rank, since entering Intermediate Profound Class 2, had been stagnant at Mystic Profound Level 5. Chapter 1147. It was a month ago, after the Academy's vacation. Shangguan Liuli seemed to have an epiphany. There was a qualitative leap in her profound grade. The person was still the willful, arrogant and rude Shangguan Liuli. However, her strength was invisibly matched with her arrogance. Earth Profound Grade. This was the last profound grade that the teacher knew. This was the last profound grade test before setting off from the Academy to the West Lawn Square. The Academy's wooden token would not have the slightest bit of falsehood. Nor would it conceal the student's profound grade. That was to say, in less than a day, Shangguan Liuli had directly advanced from the early stage of the Earth Profound Realm to the 5th stage of the Earth Profound Realm. No. Impossible. No one could do it in such a short period of time, to advance so many grades in succession. Could it be? Shangguan Liuli's Academy wooden token had a problem? Right. It was very likely that there was a problem with the Academy wooden token. The teacher looked at the arena with trepidation. Intermediate Profound Class 2 was at an advantage, but he didn't feel excited or proud at all. He only felt an extremely strange feeling pervaded the bottom of his heart. On the arena, Long Yunzhan had hidden his strength at this time. But his perceptive ability had far surpassed Shangguan Liuli's. As soon as he felt Shangguan Liuli's action, he quickly retreated and was not hurt by the force of Shangguan Liuli. The long sword fiercely stabbed into the arena. Using the sword as a support, he stabilized his body. Raging winds and huge waves, his azure blue eyes were still clear. Quietly staring at Shangguan Liuli, who was still roaring, still shouting, his eyes were cold. Using profound Yin Qi, dark force objects to participate in the competition. This was originally a big taboo in all the competitions in the Nirvana realm. Just like when Yi Qingling used the Profound Yin sword to participate in the assessment. It was considered a violation of the rules. Shangguan Liuli and the students of Intermediate Profound Class 2 dared to use it openly in the arena. Because they hid the Profound Yin Qi in their bodies. If not for the battle with them. Absolutely could not feel the existence of this power. Not right. Even if it was against them, those who did not know would not suspect that the sudden strong power was the Profound Yin Qi of the Dark Force. Shangguan Liuli actually used the Xian Yin Qi to directly raise her Xian rank to the 5th level of the Earth Xian realm. Wasn't she afraid that the elders of the main courtyard would discover the mysterious Yin Qi? Wasn't she worried that this body of hers simply wouldn't be able to withstand the profound strength of the Earth Profound realm? Wasn't she afraid of self-detonation? Shangguan Liuli answered these questions with her own actions. At the 5th grade of the Earth Profound realm, the Qi waves were monstrous. His attacks were decisive and ruthless. It was as if he was a completely different person. They had been replaced by tools controlled by the mysterious Yin energy. A tool to defeat the devil class. Such as Shangguan Liuli, even if the devil class students released their true profound energy, they might not be able to defend against her. Long Yunjian was forced to the edge of the stage several times. Devil class's disadvantage was becoming more and more obvious. However, even if these students were forced to retreat, even if their bodies were riddled with wounds, they would not give up. Every time they arrived at the edge of the arena, they would pounce forward as if they'd gone mad in an attempt to turn the situation around. I will not admit defeat. He would never lose. Long Yunjian could completely restrain Earth Profound Realm cultivators who were at the 5th grade. But the other students in the Devil class could not be compared to the stronger students from the Intermediate Profound Class 2. After a few rounds of fighting, Devil class students only had one belief in their hearts. Chapter 1148. Once she lost, Yi Qing Luo would have to face broken meridians and the blood oath of destroying her profound jade heart. They couldn't afford to lose. Devil class's students became braver the more they fought, without any fear. Even though they were covered in wounds, they climbed up once again to face the attacks from the Intermediate Profound Class 2 students and retaliated. A few of the students had already secretly released their true strength. But this didn't change the situation of Devil class. Long Yunjian and Shangguan Liuli were entangled together. Shangguan Liuli, who was at the 5th stage of the Earth Profound Realm, had already become a killing tool. Every move was fatal. Long Yunjian couldn't be like before, fighting with Shangguan Liuli while observing the situation of Devil class's students. Below the ring, from the amazement of Shangguan Liuli's sudden rise in profound rank, they were gradually infected by the atmosphere of the desperate battle between the two sides. Finally, they saw Devil class's students. After falling down time and time again, they climbed up again and again, fearlessly charging towards their opponents. No one cried out in pain. No one admitted defeat. Fresh blood oozed out and their faces turned purple. Even so, it couldn't hide the pair of crystal-clear eyes. Determination, faith. Hoarse voices came out from their mouths. They said every word, an oath that touched their hearts. The world is not dead, we will not surrender. This was what countless of them lacked. But today, they saw it in a class that they had always looked down on. The world is not dead, we will not surrender. What kind of willpower did they have to be able to say such words? Her heart, inexplicably felt sorry for Devil class's students. The gaze towards Devil class was no longer the mockery and ridicule. Especially those students who were originally watching a joke, one by one they stopped talking, their hearts were filled with shock. Acutely sensing the surrounding atmosphere, it was obviously different from the previous passionate worship towards her. Shangguan Liuli looked coldly below the stage, sweeping her gaze around. Even the eyes of the Intermediate Profound Class 2 students were sparkling with tears, as if they were touched, as they looked deeply at the Devil class. Just a bunch of trash. On what basis did they win the hearts of the various forces? This was a place that revered power. Without power, even if they could resist, what was the use? What was there to be shocked about? What was there to be touched about? Just a bunch of trash. Anger, burning wantonly. Profound chi surged violently. Boom boom boom, profound energy that hid the sky and covered the earth enveloped the entire arena. The wind howled and the hurricane stirred. The violent collision and explosion of profound energy caused an indescribable shock to rise in one's heart. Ah, bang! The sound of heavy objects landing on the ground was extremely obvious in the tumbling waves. The surrounding Devil class students were all sent flying to the ground. A few students were unable to withstand Shengguan Liuli's sudden burst of energy. He clutched his chest and spat out a few mouthfuls of blood. All of them lay on the ground, their faces pale. Ha ha ha. A bunch of trash, a bunch of ants. You want to compete with the sun and moon? Shengguan Liuli laughed maniacally. The mysterious yin qi flowing in the depths of his eyes had already covered the whites of his eyes. She didn't try to hide it. There was no need to hide it anymore. What interclass competition? What do you mean by champion? She was not interested. What she wanted was to see Qing Luo suffer for the rest of her life. As long as he could torture these students of devil class till they were unrecognizable, then bring them to his lord. In front of Yi Qing Luo, he killed all these people one by one. That was enough. Anyway, her entire life had already been handed over to the dark forces. Don't worry, I will bring all of you who are living a life worse than death to meet that slut Yi Qing Luo. Profound chi, stirred once again. Shengguan Liuli's sleeves tugged and directly rapped the few powerless devil-class students on the ground. Just at this moment, a bewitching red glow suddenly shot out. Chapter 1149. A few devil-class students instantly fell onto the ground. Shengguan Liuli missed and her expression sunk. The sinister smile on her face slowly congealed on her face. That red glow was bewitching and glaring. Following that, a flame-like feather fan sped over. Like a leaping flame, it blossomed with the most beautiful splendor in midair. Swoosh swoosh swoosh, the spinning sound of the feather fan drew a deafening piercing sound in the air. It shook the entire arena, causing it to shake continuously. That piercing sound was filled with a biting cold murderous intent. It completely overshadowed all the discussions in the arena, overshadowed the Shengguan family's jubilant cheers. Between heaven and earth, it was as though there was only that voice left. Like thunder, a voice that shook the heaven and earth. The feather fan directly closed in on Shengguan Liuli. A strong aura instantly enveloped the entire arena. Air waves raged, flames burned wantonly, stacking layer upon layer. Shengguan Liuli instinctively turned sideways, trying to avoid that feather fan's attack. Even without the profound yin chi's control, she also wanted to avoid the feather fan. She had a hunch that if she was struck by this feather fan, she would absolutely die. Ah, her feet had just moved. That nearing feather fan suddenly transformed into numerous fangs and claws, roaring angrily. It directly entangled Shengguan Liuli entirely within. This was obviously an illusory fire dragon. But unfortunately, the temperature of the fire dragon was so real. So real that Shengguan Liuli felt that she was about to be roasted. She could even smell the fragrance of meat on her body. The feather fan was still encircling Shengguan Liuli's body, revolving continuously. The air waves stacked, as the imposing manner became stronger and stronger. The entire arena's air was completely controlled by that feather fan. Qing Luo. It's boss Qing Luo. Madam Qing Luo. Joyful voices were heard from those devil-class students. Those students who were originally suppressed by Shengguan Liuli's strong imposing manner, all started to climb up, their eyes filled with joy. In devil class's waiting area, all the students had already stood up. Their eyes were filled with joy, some even cried out in agitation. That was Yi Qing Luo's glower flame fan. That powerful energy familiar and warm. That was Yi Qing Luo's energy. She was back. She really came back safe and sound. They had finally waited for their boss Qing Luo. Hearing Devil Class's students' wild and ecstatic shouts, everyone's vision was fixed on the red feather fan that had suppressed Shangguan Liuli to the point where she could not resist at all. His heart tightened little by little. He was shocked. He had heard of Yi Qing Luo's powerful ability, heard that Yi Qing Luo possessed the divine dragon and the sacred beast White Tiger. How could a 15-year-old girl be so powerful? But seeing it with his own eyes was a different kind of shock. This kind of shock was far more shocking than the news of Shangguan Liuli being a 5th-grade Earth Xian. Shangguan Liuli, who was entangled by the fire dragons, felt as if her consciousness was being devoured by the countless fire dragons. She couldn't breathe. The moment he breathed in, his nostrils were filled with a scorching hot air. She couldn't open her eyes. By the side of her ears, numerous people were shouting Yi Qing Luo's name. Her delicate body, which was unable to move, suddenly stiffened. Yi Qing Luo? How could Yi Qing Luo possibly appear? That woman had fallen into his lord's trap. Wasn't it impossible for that woman to come back alive? Why did she rush over to the competition venue? Numerous fire dragons kept tightening, twisting. Shangguan Liuli, do you want revenge? In her mind, that familiar hoarse voice rang coldly. She shut her eyes in pain. You're tuning into the Romantic Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.